sergeants bring drugs into facilities and turn around and act like the heroes. This is a reality. But in 1967, there was a law that was implemented, and it's called qualified immunity.
Hey! Talk about
Many may not understand the importance of qualified immunity simply because it never was told to us, so we didn't understand.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
But I'm pretty sure every law enforcement officer who is standing here today knows very clearly what qualified immunity is. It is no longer the badge that protects these officers that you see, but rather the law of qualified immunity. It allows them to execute force towards anybody and anything as they see fit. And the moment that they go into the courtroom, it's dismissed because of a law that is called qualified immunity. So I'm letting the people know today that this march and this stand is not for a charge or an arrest. We must begin to start speaking a new language.
What'd you do with the time?
I can't hold it and this.
And that language rings from a totally different perspective. We must not just march in our cities. We must not just march in Charlotte and Minneapolis and Chicago and Los Angeles. But as I said, the blueprint have already been painted. We must march abroad, collectively and organize to dismantle and remove qualified immunity for officers. This is what this movement is about. It is about conviction. When you look at Malcolm X and you look at Dr. King, the first thing that was convicted was the hearts of men. Because in order for a conviction to come across and unity to be established, you first must be convicted in your heart and know exactly what you're fighting for. For far too many years, we've been abroad in our fight. We've been screaming we want them arrested. We've been screaming we want them charged. And the moment that they get arrested and charged, they're protected. The moment they go into the courtroom, and then it shatters our hopes. It shatters our dreams. And then we fall back to the wayside, forgetting the reason why we're standing and why we're fighting. We can't attack an arrest or a charge because that's not enough. We want a conviction.
Yes.
For a conviction is the only thing that changes matters. We are on the brink of history, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Woo!
I want everybody to understand and think about if that was somewhere close to you. How far would you march? How far would you stand? How far will you go? Because I know when Dr. King did it, there were people getting on buses. He did not assemble where he assembled just because. He had a purpose. And he had a purpose for equality that some of us are slightly being able to experience today. Yes, we are being murdered. Yes, we are being killed. The reason why Rodney King can be beat in front of people because they convicted him before he was even charged or arrested. Breonna could not even tell her story, so they came into her home and she was found guilty of death for absolutely no reason. George Floyd was sentenced to death before he can either be charged or arrested. So how dare we as a people continue to keep screaming charged and arrested and not conviction?
That's right. That's right.
It is time for us to change our stance. I am calling out all leaders. I am calling out everybody who is of any significance to understand that this march is just not citywide, but nationwide. And we need to become organized, and we need to come together to serve one solution: to gain a conviction and to remove qualified immunity from officers. Because this law has been implemented since 1967. So think about all of the lives that have been lost in that process. They've been studying us. They study our responses. They study our emotional position. They study our anger. They study when we're upset. They've studied us. And because they studied us, they know that this is about our reaction instead of us standing upon the things that need to be paid attention to. We will no more be diverted based on emotion. We will no more be diverted by a period of fear. But we will stand organized for a conviction. America has disguised and used the word justice when it has never existed.
Woo!
As African Americans, we have struggled for too long, and too many lives have been lost for us to stand today, leave, go home, let your emotions die, and not continue to fight for the conviction that we need for your son, for your daughter, for your sister, for your brother, for when that time comes. I once was convicted, but now I stand as a leader convicting the people to stand on something greater. You can no longer hold me to who I used to be. You can no longer hold me for what I used to stand for. And you can no longer be held for who you used to be, but you can stand for who you are today. And if you stand on that, then in that alone, we will get a conviction. And qualified immunity will be erased, and we will be able to change the future of our children. No more! No more! No more! No more! No more!
Woo!
Before the next speaker, I want you to read from the national president of the NAACP. The NAACP is calling on the United Nations to step up and classify the mistreatment of black people in the U.S. by the police as a human rights violation, aggressively calling out the U.S. government in the process and impose sanctions. What he said was they should end criminalization